guys, welcome to my channel. I'm super excited to finally get this off the ground. I've been trying to do this since last year when I posted that story on Instagram about the TV series that they were filming about me and would y'all want to see anything like that for me as content on YouTube, and everybody said yes, and I should have done it, and I actually made a ton of videos and never posted them because I have my own personal insecurities about stuff like that. But I've decided it's time to just let that go and just let God at this point, and let's hope that this is something that y'all want to watch or want to see or will follow or subscribe or anything. Please, someone watch me. Anyway, so I thought today I would do my first video on how I started my business, some tips and tricks, and some pitfalls that I have fallen in, still tripping in, and want you to avoid. Without further ado, let's just get into the video. Tip number 1, figure out your life, or just kind of what you want to do. I would start with making a list of things that you're really good at. And I know this sounds a little bit cliche, but what is your passion in life? Like, what do you really like to do? For me, dance has been something that's always been in my life since I was 2, so it's kind of natural for me to be in this realm and doing what I do and kind of figuring out how to make multiple streams of income within the realm of dance. Tip number 2, register your business and buy your domain name. That is a lot easier than it sounds. To register your business, you really only need to visit your county clerk office. From there, it's like 2 forms and maybe like $15, and you have the business name for at least 10 years. And then you just have to renew it every time it comes up. When it comes to the domain name, there's plenty of services that you can use. As soon as you figure out what you want to do, or even if you have an idea of what you want to do, I would go ahead and buy that domain name. You'll always own it, it's always yours, and you won't have to actually worry about it. Later on, if someone comes up with something with a similar name, you already own the domain, so it's perfect. I've actually had my domain since I graduated college. I had no idea what Rogue by Raquel was going to be. I think when I started it and right out of college, it was a custom ready-to-wear business, but I never made anything. I think I made a skirt, or I had a skirt that I made in college that I let my friend wear, and we pretended like it was something I made for her for Christmas. Anyway, I never actually used the domain, so I just had it, but I've always had it. And then when it came time to start Rogue by Raquel, my costume company, it was just an easy switch. I even had the same logo that I could still use. I had all the branding that I had made for when I originally wanted to start the company, and I just switched it over to my dance costume company. So it was an easy transition for me, and I already had the domain and I already had the business name, so it was just perfect. Number 3, create a social media presence. That's Instagram, that's Facebook, that's Twitter, whatever floats your boat. I'm not really a tweeter or Twitter or twit, but whatever, I don't do that. Once you create that platform, engage with the people that are following you, because you never know who's going to turn into a potential client or a potential customer. Number 4, utilize marketing concepts to make sure that you can gain followers and potential clients. Last year when I started my business, I ran a contest. It was super easy. All people had to do was follow me, like my picture, repost it on their page, tag a friend, the things that all of these contests are all about anyway. In the end, they ended up winning a free costume, but what I got out of it was so much more. I had a new audience. I had potential people who had not seen me before now looking at my content. It's the same thing with any business. You want to make sure that you're bringing in new eyes all the time. You also want to make sure you're using great visuals. I try to do a photo shoot every couple months or so, just so that I have new content that I can post on my Instagram and Facebook, just so people can see what I've been doing or the quality of my work. Also, you want to engage with your followers. It's important to keep that relationship. So when I see all of my previous clients with their costumes on, I make sure I tag them, or I make sure I repost them, or I comment on it about how cute they are, just so that they know I'm paying attention and that I appreciate who they are and what they do, and that they came to me for their product this year. Pause. Let's take a second and you go ahead and hit that subscription button right down there. Just that one. Perfect, thanks. Number 5, the 6 W's. Your who, what, where, when, and how. First up, who. The most important thing you need when it comes to your business is a support system. Who is your support system? Who's there for you when you get really tired and you just don't feel like doing it anymore? Also, you want to know who your target audience is. And at the same time, who is helping you with this? Are you working on your own, or do you have a team behind you? Then there's the what. What are you selling? What is the service that you're providing to people? Is this something that they're going to need or something that they're going to want? Then you also have to know what your worth is and stick to it. Don't let people negotiate your pricing. Know what your time is worth, what your skills are worth. It's important. It's something that I'm definitely still struggling with. Within my first year, I was basically working for free. I was making people only pay for the necessities and then giving myself pennies in the end when it came to the product. I had to raise my prices this year, and people who understand my work and my worth and my product didn't have an issue with it. If they didn't, then I lost them, but that's okay. Next up is the where. Where are you going to work? Where are you going to sell your product? I work out of my house. Currently, this is my workshop and I'm in my kitchen. But it's something that was easy for me to start, and it was something that has grown. It started as a little desk in this corner. None of this awesome stuff that my stepdad built me this year was here. It was just a small black desk with my terrible sewing machine from college. Within my first 6 months, I bought 2 new machines, 4 tables, 3 mannequins, XYZ, all this thread. You have no idea how much money I spent on thread. Ridiculous. Point is that you have to bloom where you're planted. I didn't have the means to buy a space my first year out, so I used the space I had. In the next year or in the next couple of months, I plan on moving into a space because my business has outgrown this space. So that's a great thing to have, but you have to know where you can start and where you can do what is necessary. Then there's the when. When are you going to do all of this? Is it going to be part-time? Is it going to be full-time? Is it a year-round business? Is it seasonal? And then if you have goals, when are you going to complete those? All of those things are very, very important. When I started my business, I was part-time. I literally had a full-time job as an agent. I taught dance part-time, and then I came home at night and I sewed costumes. And that was before I even had the company. That was just because my dancers needed costumes and I was making them. Within my first year, I was still working as an agent and teaching almost just as much as I was working at the agency. So I didn't have a lot of free time, but the free time I had, I put into the business. Luckily, I was able to leave my full-time job and just be a full-time teacher at night. That opened up my days to actually work on my business basically full-time. You have to know when you're able to do these things and make a plan and a schedule for how you're going to make it happen. And finally, there's the how. Financially, how are you going to start this business? Do you need funds? Do you need a business loan? Do you have parents that are going to help you? You have to figure out how you can financially begin this business and if it is something that is a possibility. Also, how does the process work for your clients? For me, I have a design overview that I made that tells them what they need to give me to make sure that I give them the product that they want, and then it also tells them what they can expect when it comes to my timing. And then how are you going to be taking payment? There's Venmo, there's PayPal, there's checks, there's cash, there's Square. There's so many different ways. So you kind of just need to figure out what's going to be the best way for you and your clientele and make sure you plan ahead. Number 6, be consistent and be patient. It is so important to make sure that when you are creating a product or providing a service to someone, that you are consistent with your quality. That's why I have such a hard time trying to bring someone on to help me with my product. There's no one that's gonna know the quality and do the quality of the work for your company than you. And I know it can get hard in the beginning when you're trying to figure out if this is actually something that is viable and it's gonna work out. But you just have to be patient. Patience is key when it comes to starting a business. It could take off in a day, it could take off in a year, it could take off in 5 years. But as long as you're consistent, you'll get to where you're trying to go. Number 7, don't ignore your people. It is so important to keep that line of communication with your clients. Nothing is worse than feeling ignored. Just like you don't like to feel ignored when you buy something from someone and you have an issue and you run to return it and no one's answering your questions. You want to make sure that your customer service is always number 1. That is the most important part of your business because word of mouth will kill your business immediately. You're also not working for free. Just because they're your friend, your family, your aunt, your uncle, whatever, you've got to make sure that they understand you're still doing a job and this is still a business, so they still need to pay you. Number 8, be a show-off. You want to make sure people know that your products are good. I consistently post all of my new costumes just to make sure everybody understands. Did you see that one? Did you see how many rhinestones I put on that one? Did you see how many awards that girl won? If you're not bragging about you, who is? And then if you are bragging about yourself, people can share it and they can brag on you for you. Number 9, know your limitations. You are not Wonder Woman or Superman. You have got to figure out what you can and cannot do and work within those parameters. There's a difference between hard work and burning yourself out. Figure out, do you need help and where you can get help. Always have a village of people that you can lean on. But if you don't, figure out where you can find that village or find people that can help you out. And lastly, number 10, brand, brand, brand. You want people to immediately look at your work and say, oh, I know exactly where that came from. Oh, is that a Robe by Raquel original? Oh, was that wedding put on by XYZ? You want people to automatically know it's your work when they see it. Branding is not just about the look, but it's about who your company is as a brand as well. You don't want to be known as a company that doesn't talk to their clients, has bad products, and doesn't get things out on time. You want to make sure that you're creating a great reputation for yourself. I'm not going to sit here and say that I am always on time, but what I'm always doing is making sure I'm keeping a line of communication between me and my client to keep them updated on what's going on. Whew, okay, so that's it. Those are a couple of tips and tricks and issues that I've been having and hopefully that you won't have when it comes to starting your own business. This video took me so long. I got super nervous at the beginning, had to have my own little dance party. But it's done, and this is my first video, and I've finally gotten it out, and I'm excited to kind of see where this whole YouTube thing takes me. I have so much planned for you for the next couple videos. Something I've really been into is creating travel montages and vlogs of events that I'm going on, and I plan on taking you guys with me. So keep an eye out. There's so much content that'll be coming on here that'll be eclectic and very different and hopefully something that you'll want to watch. Anyway, I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.